Howdy. Thanks for joining me in this talk. Before I get going, I want to kind of address my last video and how I said my current belief is kind of in simulation theory and that it might change. And what do you know? It's already changed. You know, I stumbled onto this Lamb Lash last night, and he kind of talks about the Gnostic tradition of the goddess known as Sophia. So, you know, to make a long story short, it's just a creation myth that I haven't really heard of or investigated much. So, and this is why, you know, I am the way I am. I kind of like to, you know, I have an idea of simulation theory, and it fits with a lot of stuff in the world. But I also know that, how could I ever prove this is a hologram? You know, it feels pretty real. So I like to have all these options kind of on the table. And I'm leaning more towards this Gnostic tradition of knowing, you know, that you're a created being, and that you have a father and a mother God above you, you know, not just a father God that's about child sacrifice. It kind of makes sense that this would be a realm with a goddess, you know, a feminine aspect, because of all the life and creation constantly going on. And the fact that according to this Lamb Lash, this Gnostic tradition has been one of the most suppressed stories in human history. If you research it, they mix it all with Christ and stuff. And the Gnostics were called heretics back then, and they were kind of killed by the Catholics. So they didn't believe in Jesus. I can guarantee you that. And then there's a lot of Gnostic talk lately about the Gnostic tradition proving simulation theory, which this Lamb Lash is totally against. So I don't know. I'm going to put a video by this guy in the description if you're curious. But I'm just always bouncing the different ideas and things, and I'm pretty open. So I just wanted to address that. You know, it's also the Nag Hammadi texts. You know, that's where these Gnostic traditions come from. But this video today is about health and healing. H-E-E-L, healing. So, these videos I am making are for practical purposes. You know, I want to take what I am talking about, I want you to take what I'm talking about and use it to improve your reality. This talk I'm about to give on health and healing brings me back full circle to my first experience of a conspiracy. So I have not always been this suspicious of everything in the realm. Okay? I once was young and dumb and full of you know what. And I really still am that way to some extent. I got a lot to learn. I'm a cosmic child like all of us. You know, I got a lot of questions. And I'm open. So, I find healthy living to be the cornerstone of a clear mind. As you grow wiser, you realize how interlinked your thoughts are to living a healthy life. Health is not separate from the mind. If you have an unhealthy mind, you will have an unhealthy body, and vice versa. This is a simple rule to the realm. So my investigation into health started in my early 20s. So I'm 36 now. So I've kind of been on this conspiracy route for, 15, 16 years. So my investigation into health started in my early 20s when I gained an extra 20 pounds or so. I had been slim and athletic my whole life, and I never took a moment to think about what was going into my body. I remember at a track meet in high school, one of my buddies, Colin, he wasn't feeling well. So I was asked to step in and run the race for him. I was a wild man back then, just as I am now. About 15 minutes before the race, I ate a hot dog and chugged a soda, and it didn't faze me. And I actually went on to win that race. So just to let you know, I was totally ignorant of my diet growing up. I did not ask any of these questions. I had no idea. Food was food. You know, I figured, hey, my parents, everybody around me is giving me good food, right? It's a big assumption in this age. But I remember as a teenager having stomach pains after I would eat something. And I thought that was normal for your stomach to hurt after you ate. I just remember having that epiphany, like, after I cleaned up my diet and my stomach didn't hurt. It's like, what the world was I doing? Now I realize if my body hurts at all after I eat something, it was poisonous or toxic, and I don't eat it again. In my early 20s, I remember learning about GMO plants as I was becoming a gardener. I used to hate tomatoes. I would take them off all my cheeseburgers. They tasted like water to me. Just they didn't have taste. It was like gross. Tomatoes are gross. Then I grew my own tomatoes. I remember taking that first bite out of my homegrown tomato. I enjoyed a tomato for the first time in my life, and I was in my 20s. So this was the first conspiracy I ever experienced. The combination of me gaining some weight and realizing our food was fake set me off on my health journey early in life. When you start to study GMO plants, you quickly realize it costs more to grow and requires highly toxic chemicals that only big agro produces. So this is highly profitable because it is so specialized. GMO corn has been studied and the side effects are well known. The corn is designed to kill insects when they take a bite of it. So, I mean, when you take a bite of it, it must be healthy, right? Like, when humans eat the GMO corn, it creates holes in their intestine and stomach lining that allows toxins to seep into the body and the bloodstream. And you wonder, like, wouldn't somebody be regulating this and not allowing us to have poisons in our food supply? GMOs are considered GRAS by USDA, GRAS, generally recognized as safe. Whatever that means. Guns, knives can be generally recognized as safe until you hurt somebody with them. A car is generally recognized as safe until you smash into somebody. It's just, I go back to word magic and spelling and legalese and just the way that laws work and legislation is passed and how it's all right there if you're paying attention, that they've found a way to legally poison you. And they say it's generally recognized as safe, right? Like, I just, whew. GRAS is an acronym for the phrase generally recognized as safe under Section 201 and 409 of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmic Act. Any substance, and it's like cosmic because it's like it's okay to make things look pretty if you rub poison on them because it's a cosmetic. It's generally recognized as safe. Like, it just, any substance that is intentionally added to food is a food additive that is subject to review and approval by the FDA unless the substance is generally recognized among qualified experts has been adequately shown to be safe under the conditions of its intended use. So it's like, If a scientist generally recognizes something as safe, like this is nobody voted for this, nobody has any say, no, the public has no say in this. You just have this private scientist deciding because he's an expert. That's what the law says. All you have to have is a qualified expert, with a government license to say, oh, this is safe. And then they just slap it in the food supply without testing it now. It's been going on for like decades. Has been shown to be safe under conditions of its intended use. And it just doesn't make sense too, the way they word all this. It's, so, it has to be reviewed and approved by the FDA unless the substance is generally recognized among qualified experts as having been adequately shown to be safe under the conditions of its intended use, or unless the use of the substance is otherwise accepted from the definition of a food additive. So, I mean, you can just see how none of that last sentence really doesn't make any sense, but it probably protects them if they have a food additive and it's poisonous. As long as it's called a food additive, it's okay or something. GMO foods, high fructose corn syrup. Everybody knows about high fructose corn syrup at this point. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, artificial colors and sweeteners. Aspartame. Everybody used to talk about aspartame in their gum. I remember researching aspartame, and it's a bacteria poop. It's like they get these bacteria to poop something out, and then they put it in your gum. So basically, all the poisons that are in your food supply are generally recognized as safe by the government and all the experts. When I, as a human being, have recognized them to be poison. So now I gotta introduce you to the father of legal food poisoning in our age, Michael Taylor. I mean, if you know anything about GMOs and Monsanto and what's been going on, this Michael Taylor guy, his story should just tell you everything about how food is regulated in our age. So the Wikipedia of Michael Taylor says, Michael Taylor is an American lawyer who played leadership roles in the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, agrochemical company Monsanto, and the law firm King and Spalding. He's currently co-chairs the board of Stop Foodborne Illness, a nonprofit that supports victims of serious illness and their families in an effort to strengthen food safety culture and practices in government and industry. It sounds like a great guy. He's trying to help people from getting foodborne illnesses, right? Here's more on his wiki. From 1981 to 1991, Taylor worked in private law practice at King and Spalding. He established and led the firm's food and drug practice and became the first food and drug partner in the law firm in 1984. During this period, Mr. Taylor wrote and spoke frequently on topics related to FDA and its regulatory programs, including risk management, the application of risk management to food safety decisions, which it's like, what is there risk management in the food decisions, financially speaking, federal preemption, drug approvals, color additive, and medical device regulation, and the need to maintain FDA funding for consumer protection. In a nutshell, this man has been able to use government to poison people legally, while also using government to protect big agro from the liability of the poisoning. Then to top it off, he is a chairman of an NGO, Stop Foodborne Illness, that claims to protect people from poisons in their food supply. It's incredible how they kind of use every angle of a situation to their benefit and get away with it and create laws and make it legal to get away with it. Like, this guy literally had a hand in the Monsanto Protection Act. So Monsanto is protected when people get poisoned by the food supply, you can't sue Monsanto because you got sick from food, even though they're the private business that poisons the food supply. So, I mean, then this is, kind of where I started with conspiracies. And to find this one angle out about the food supply in my early 20s, I mean, it's kind of set me off on this whole course of, like, recreating my whole life and really not being able to trust government or mind control. It's really bad stuff, So, people kind of might think like I'm off my rocker or I'm crazy or there's something wrong, because I ask all these questions and want a different outcome in this environment we share. I just think you're being really ignorant about the age you're in and the power you have to change it. So this guy is just as guilty as Bill Gates for his crimes against humanity. I learned this in my early 20s, and I knew that something had to be done. I saw a lot of problems in the realm, but I decided that growing clean, happy, healthy, uncorrupted plants will be my focus. It's extremely practical, as we all need nourishment and healing herbs. But the peace I have when I'm with my plants in my garden is worth it alone. They really saved me from myself back then. I've been a wild man. I've been a rebel. I really have gone against all these false authorities trying to author my life. They never had a right to twist me as a child and do what they did. I'm sure there will be consequences for all of this stuff. But it just was hard for me to find where I fit into this place. I just felt after you leave high school and you're supposed to go to college and get a job, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I just wanted to hang out and have fun and stuff, But when I started gardening, I felt like I fit in. Like I felt like this is it. This is me. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. A lot of peace comes in gardening. And then gardening is a metaphor for like everything in your life. Planting seeds, watching them grow. There's just something purely magical about these plants too. They come from these tiny little seeds, then they grow into all these beautiful forms and flowers, and like almost all these plants you see in front of you, they came back up by themselves. After a snowy winter, they just go to sleep and then they come back up. It just always reminds me of the life force that we share, and the regeneration and the healing and the never ending of the fun and the excitement here. It's just like, plants really save me. I'm sure, you might have some passion that has saved you in this place, something to really focus on and care about and to stand up for in this time. Of just absolute trickery. There's a lot of love to be had. There's a lot of growth to be had in these times. It's a great litmus test. It's a great test to see what you really are. When I feel like this is an anomaly. The realm does not get like this. This is some alien outside force that's causing all this strife, and then people are following it is the problem. They're allowing themselves to be ruled over. And I don't know, I just naturally never was into it. And I kind of, as time goes on, it really makes a lot of sense why I'm here and I'm doing what I'm doing. I just think it's needed. You know, I think it's healing right now is needed big time. Enough about me. I just figure this would give you some background on why I do what I do in these videos. What is a solution to GMOs and poison in the food supply? Obviously, growing your own food is the best, but you can also find a local farmer you trust and buy from them. Try to find a biodynamic farm. Biodynamic farms only use natural processes to grow food. They create their own fertilizers from their own land. Everything is sustainable, and they use no outside input or commercial farming products. It's as clean as it gets, biodynamic farms. I'm pretty fortunate because I'm up here in New Hampshire, and it's just a lot of local farming. And I get to go to a website for Brookford Farm. They're about an hour away from me. I go to their website, and I can order biodynamic food, and they deliver it like every Wednesday. Like they pick a day where they go to each town and deliver. And I mean, I would love to be doing that one day on maybe a smaller scale. They're pretty big. I mean, you should find a local farm, or something other than the grocery store if you're able to. Now, if you have to go to the grocery store, like I still have to go to the grocery store, you need to learn how to read all the labels and get familiar with all these ingredients. Avoid anything GMO or bioengineered. Only buy organic. Organic food is better than GMO, but there are still plenty of problems with the USDA organic food. You might be familiar with the Bragg's company. They make apple cider vinegar and other organic products. Katy Perry bought Bragg's a couple years ago, and now they add poison to their Bragg products. So this is an organic, well-known brand that people buy. And these celebrities, they got all this extra money, and they sold their soul, so they have to do something with all that money, right? And so they're buying up organic companies and poisoning it. And the rumor is Bill Gates is involved as well. He has they use A-peel technology on the apples. So that's APEEL technology that is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's all there, public knowledge. But basically, it's like a coating around the apple that makes it last longer and is supposedly organic when it's just a toxin. They coated it in, and so basically, the Bragg's that everybody used to know as a clean, organic brand that was good for your health is now bad for your health and poisonous. You got to realize what we're up against, when they're poisoning the food supply. And then they have this, it's just silly that they have organic in the first place. Everything should be clean. But now they're poisoning the organic food because they got to get at the wiser people that are realizing all this stuff. Like, they already own most of these dummies going in eating GMOs. Their bodies are falling apart. They're sick all the time. They own those people. They own their health. They own their minds. They really want the organic people at this point. They've been gaining. I look at my life, and I look at what's been going on in the world, and these people are just doubling down, becoming twice as more powerful. This small group is owning more and more and more of everything as we all just sit back and allow it. It's really, if you know anything about what happened in COVID, it was the largest transfer of wealth in human history. While you shut down your small businesses, Walmart, all the big mega corporations took all your small business away legally. They used the damn government to shut you down and to make transfer more wealth than has ever been transferred in human history. And now they got all this money, and you probably heard about BlackRock and how they're buying houses now, and like all these investment firms are buying the houses that were meant for people to live in. But see, they have so much money at this point that they can buy the houses and sell them to you at a higher price because they own the market. Supposedly that's what government was supposed to stop, was monopoly situations, but yeah, it's the opposite. So now I want to talk about healing. Heeling. So if you train animals, you are familiar with healing an animal. Basically, you are taming a beast, teaching it to obey your commands. It does seem like companion animals like dogs enjoy this process. It gives them purpose. Dogs are so loyal, they just want to serve their master to the fullest, you know, like I don't think it's right to have a dog and just have him sitting around all day. I think just like us, we need a purpose, you know, we shouldn't be sitting around all day depressed. I think if a dog is sitting around all day, it's depressed too. Like, you need to give these animals purpose. They're looking for something to do. They want to run around and be what they were meant to be. You see a lot of people like getting a little dog and then like dressing it up and then like parading the dog around and like really using the dog instead of like loving the dog in a proper way. But a cat, you know, I don't know if you're ever going to heal a cat. You know, they really don't seem like they want to be tamed or to follow commands. So all the animals are different. So I'm kind of talking about the animals that you would heal. And I'm sure you know of somebody who does not heal their dog. You know, the dog runs around, it does whatever it wants. It might bite somebody or it barks at people. You know, that you'll see somebody chasing their dog down the street in this age. It's basically the dog recognizes the inner state of their master is not calm and in command. So the dog doesn't feel safe. You know, if you've got somebody filled with anxiety and they're like frazzled, the dogs see right through all of it and they know like, oh man, this person's anxious. I got to get out of here and find somebody who's safe to be around. So you really need to be able to heal a dog if you're going to get one. It's not right to have a dog and then to have it like want to run away from you. Like you're trying to use the dog to get love or something. It's like, grow up. Treat the dog right. Okay? Don't use the dog as some twisted love toy. It's a live, conscious being that deserves respect. So I'm waiting to get animals and dogs till I'm ready to fully care and love them. You know, they're not toys. So I want to use healing as an analogy for your mind being the out of control beast. So I used to let my mind wander and run in all directions, you know, just going wherever my mind would take me. Then I realized not all my thoughts are worth following, you know, and not all my thoughts are mine in the first place. You know, your thoughts are not you. So I'm finally, so sometimes you need to say heal in your mind. Like when your mind is running, going somewhere, disobeying, or just going down a negative track, you got to say heal, stop it, change your mind, look at something else, you know, get up and move around. Don't sit there and dwell on something you don't need to dwell on. Don't get anxious or worry yourself. You know, you got to heal the mind. I'm finally getting to a point in my life where my mind is calming down and it's healing to the heart. So I think we allow our mind to run rampant and discard what our hearts always know to be true. So it's really using your heart to heal the mind. You know, your mind, a lot of times we have a inner critic in our mind. And if you don't get the outcome that you want in life, if something doesn't manifest, you know, that you really want, or your desire does not come true, you don't get the girlfriend you wanted, you don't get the job you wanted, whatever's happening, in your life, and your mind is just saying like, oh, your inner critic is telling you like, oh, you didn't get that job because you're no good. You didn't get that girl because you're ugly. You didn't have that desire you wanted because there's something wrong with you. And it's just not the way to be. That's not the way your mind should work at all. You need to, when your mind starts doing that stuff, you got to say, heal. Stop thinking of that. That's not true. Okay? You got to learn how to love yourself and get rid of this inner critic in your mind. It's taken me some time, and just like training a dog, I've had to train my mind to not go there. I know I'm awesome. I know I'm a loving person. I'm not, just because I don't have everything I want in life right now, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me, And, there's also this other thing that constantly comes up in my life that I think everybody needs to think about, and it's slowing down. We're constantly trying to speed forward and get the desire, get the thing we want, the life we need, and you just need to slow down. Really take in what this experience is and what's going on around you. I've had the past 2 winters, I've had some kind of spin outs in the snow, and the first one I had was just down the road here, and I was able to dig myself out. Nobody got hurt, but I remember the car passed as I was getting out, and he was like, you need to slow down. And whenever I have like a car accident or something just out of the blue that never happen, I pay attention, and I'm like, man, slow down. And I did need to slow down, not really in my driving, but in my mind. I needed somebody to tell me to slow down, and the same thing happened this winter. I was leaving the high school that I work at, and it was a snowy day, and, you could drive in the tire tracks, but there was like a couple inches of snow outside of it. And I'm from Missouri, so I'm not really the best in this snow driving yet, and I just got into a little bit of snow, and I lost it, ended up spinning around, and I'm like going backwards into a snowbank. And, not a scratch on me. Nobody was around. My car went right into the bank, off the road. So it's interesting when like nobody gets hurt, but you have these situations happen in life. And I just remember like, yeah, I need to slow down. It was another slow down message. I just think we could all slow down a little and really just appreciate what life is, what we all have. It might be some crazy situation, that we're in, but I feel like it's exciting times. We're up against a lot in this age, and it really defines you, I think, and lets you discover who you really are. We're not getting the easy life here. I feel like this time is an anomaly. This is not how things are supposed to be. This is not how it normally is here. We're under some, people trying to control others and rule over others, and that's never correct. That's never right. But it seems like maybe it's been thousands of years of this controlling attitude in our minds, and it's just all culminated into this giant, like, crazy society and these governments that are just ruthless. And I mean, it's an inhuman environment we inhabit right now. We're not living in a place that's really good for us to be in. It's like a horror show. I mean, you've got the most careless, ruthless thugs throwing everybody at each other, and it's even worse than like the animal kingdom. You know, the way that humans are acting right now. So I kind of, like I was saying earlier about the Gnostic teachings, that I need to do a lot more research into it. But there's this thought of these archons or rulers, you know, this outer force that is not like us. You know, they don't have love, compassion, playfulness. They're missing all that. And they're jealous of us. They're kind of like robots. They just mimic. You know, they're not allowed to create. Like, whatever they were created to be, not as good as what we are. And it seems like somehow they've infiltrated our realm, and they're using us against each other, and they're making us in their image. We're becoming jealous like they are. There's something about it. There is just something about you trying to control somebody else that is just wrong, and it will always be wrong. It doesn't matter if we have trillions of people in this realm at the same time. That's no excuse to control another person or to author their life. So I feel like this time it's a time of truth and freedom to be rediscovered. And I don't know. I just, this talk I'm having, you know, it was my first kind of conspiracy. It was my first, like, whoa, this place needs to change drastically. Like, I can't go along with this. You know, I got to do something to change it. And I really hope that you're feeling the same way and you're finding your passion. Because it just seems like we're far more powerful than whatever this stupid, jealous, hateful, loser life, barf bag people that try to rule over us. I mean, they just look sick and sad, and they got to walk around and lie to everybody all the time. It's really all they have are tricks and lies. But I go on and on about that. So I was basically talking about how you need to use your heart to heal the mind. The heart to say, mind, shut it. The heart knows. The heart knows what the mind could never know. You got to trust it. Like, you have to stop doubting that you're a loving being. You got to stop the doubts. And you just got to know love is worth it. It's worth going for it, okay? It doesn't matter if your mind is going to tell you you're going to get in trouble or whatever. Like, do the right thing according to your heart, and you'll be surprised at how the thing in your mind that was stopping you, just nothing. It didn't happen. You were able to do the right thing, and you discovered a beautiful thing. You made a beautiful thing. And that worry in your mind never even happened. You know, it was just a trick. Kind of like all these rulers we have tricking us. They're afraid of people like me saying this and getting, you know, this message kind of getting out there. I think it's too late. Far too late. I think their goose is cooked. You know, like I said in one of my previous videos, I'm on a love mission. And there ain't nobody's going to stop it. So let's keep talking here. So in order to heal the body, you must heal the mind first. Put away all the doubts you have about healing yourself. It's not as complicated as modern medicine has made it. It will take some bravery at first, experimenting with new things on your path to healing. But I'm telling you, it's the only path to being healthy. You must take responsibility for your healing internally and externally. I like this saying I just made up, heal yourself in all ways, always. So we have this word always, which always can mean like all the different ways. You know, the inner way, the outer way, whatever way, always. And it can also mean time, always. So I like to say, heal yourself in all the ways, always. Keep going. Don't give up on healing yourself or healing the mind. It only gets better, the more you progress at it. My neighbor George introduced me to Louise Hay. She basically maps physical illness to something going wrong in your mind. I have some examples I put down. So let's say you sprain your ankle or you break your ankle. That means that you're not flexible, or it could mean that you're not living life on solid ground. If your ankle goes bad. If you have an addiction, that means that you're running from yourself. You're afraid. You don't know how to love yourself. So, when I look at addictions, let's say you're drinking every night or getting high every night, or you gotta go have sex with somebody, right? You have some sex addiction. It's not actually a physical addiction that you have. It's an addiction of the mind, because you have not learned how to love yourself. So instead of using the mind to find out how to love yourself, you're going out and getting all this fake love. You're getting drunk all the time, and you're replacing the real love that you can generate. It's all in your mind. It's a mind trick, these addictions. That's not a physical thing. Anxiety, it means you're not trusting the flow or the process of life. I was just talking about slowing down. That's the only remedy for anxiety. You got to slow the mind down. Get good at shutting it off. The way I do it, I go out in the woods. I have my battles out in the woods with my mind. I just get out there and do my best to not think. Do my best to just listen to the chipmunks and all the crazy the red squirrel making this stupid sound, it's really, the real battle is within you. It's not going to war to fight Putin and Iran or nothing. That's all fabricated stuff to just keep people in chains and bondage. It's the real battle goes on in your mind, and then you know how to act. Once you start gaining ground in your mind. I think it takes a lot of silence in this age. So however you got to do it, But yeah, anxiety. Get away from Wi-Fi signals. Get away from electrical stuff too, because that does have an effect. So this Louise Hay, she says when you have blood pressure or high hypertension, that means you could have a long-standing emotional problem you have not solved. If you get dizziness or vertigo, that means you're flighty, you could be scattered thinking, or you're refusing to look into something. If you get dizzy or vertigo, you're not addressing a pattern in your life. And then it means you're flighty. Instead of taking the time to think about my past and what's gone wrong, or something, I'm going to go to the bar and hang out. I'm going to go to the sports game. I'm just going to keep constantly distracting myself with whatever the thing on the TV or the computer tells me. Like, oh, a new concert to go to, or another Star Wars to watch. It's just about slowing down, going inside. You know, you got to look in to things. Nobody's going to grab you and rip you open and say, there's where it's wrong, dude. No, that's you. You have to do all that. And it is, it's a process, you know, and it only gets easier once you start. You got to start at some time. You know, that's the whole thing about all this. So I like to think when you get a physical illness, it's a sign that you need to change. You know, usually you need to change something in your mind. It's not about the physical illness, right? It's not a sign to go to. It's not a sign to get your body doctored by the mad medical industry of this age. All illness leads back to the self. Only you can heal your innermost traumas and mistakes. While plenty of people can assist you in the healing process, you must ultimately take responsibility of your own life in this realm. Unless you enjoy going to the doctor, get your body fraudulently doctored, some people would rather suffer than learn how to heal the mind. You know, your mind starts floating off onto a bad thought. Well, whip it. No, bad mind. I mean, I'm not saying be like a crazy tyrant slave to your mind. Like, you know, it's just slow it down and have a fun way of taming it. Like, whoosh, make a stupid sound. I don't know. So now I want to share some of my methods of healing. I just went through my first fall and spring of not having a runny nose or a cough or itchy throat of any kind. I think the seasonal flu has everything to do with our electric body and the toxins needing to be expelled as the seasons change. So last fall, I took some Shilajit and a charcoal cleanser. So basically, before the season changed, I cleansed my body out. Because my thought about, you know, viruses and the germ theory, still a theory, guys. Viruses are exosomes, which an exosome is just a process of your body taking a toxin and flushing it out. It's not a giant genomic, you know, all these crazy influenza, which I read that came from influenza. But all these so-called viruses, it's just a natural process of your body eliminating toxins. Like, why else are you heating up? You're getting a fever. And then you're getting a runny nose. It's like, well, there's something hardened and stuck in your body. You got to get hot, melt it out. It's very, like, basic. I heard somebody say, like, what is it? Like, it's almost like blaming the firefighters for the fire. So let's say there's a fire going on, and a bunch of firefighters show up to put out the fire, you know, to clean up. And it's like, well, the firefighters caused the fire. Because they show up every time there's a fire. And that's a good analogy for viruses and exosomes. It's like, no, it's just because you see a virus, that doesn't mean the virus caused it. It's just always there at it's always there at the scene of the crime. Because it's cleaning up the toxin that you stupidly let in your body, or that somehow in this age got into you. Because they literally spray toxic metals in the sky now. You know, you can't even breathe clean air in this age. They poison the water, the air. I just went over how they legally poison the food supply. So you wonder why everybody's getting sick. and then they call it a virus instead of it's just simple pollution. It's an environmental toxin, and your body has to get rid of it. But man, people are so stupid in this age, they'll eat toxins their whole life and be sick all the time and think it's normal. It's just beyond me. Like, I don't think you're supposed to be sick here. I don't think it was a natural thing. It's a way to control people. But I truly think laughter and being lighthearted is the best medicine. You know, you can tell when somebody is serious and they carry a heavy heart with them. They always focus on negative stuff and they want you to join in their heaviness. A lot of times, they're always rumor milling about somebody else and how stupid somebody else is. They're always talking about this president's stupid because I didn't vote for him, but my president's smart. It's just like negative people that they're always like want to blame somebody and they just carry around all this negativity. It's just like, it's crazy to me because I like to talk about ideas. You know, everybody's got their personal problems in life. I can't judge people for being stupid. It's like, I'm stupid sometimes. We're going to make all these mistakes. And it's just hilarious how people love to take somebody else's little mistake, focus in on it, just so they can ignore the massive mistake they're making in their life. Oh, I'm sure you're around these people. They love to just blame somebody else. Drama this. I can't believe this person said that. It's like just muddying their own inner waters, trying to blind themselves from the mistakes they've made. That's why I lighten my load. I don't get involved in drama. It's great. It's nice not having any drama in your life. I can't imagine being in the midst of that stuff, especially now, this age. Save the drama for your mama, as they say. Laugh off your silly mistakes and dramas of the past. You know the saying, you will look back and laugh at this. Life becomes a burden when you take yourself too seriously and cannot make fun of yourself. So I have a little antidote, about that. So my first job out of high school, I worked at Sherwin-Williams paint store. That was my first official job. Other than that, I kind of did construction with my dad in the summers. But I worked at Sherwin-Williams, and my first boss, he was this 400-pound guy. He was hilarious. The contractors would come in, and he would joke, make them laugh, and that's why he got so much business, is because he was a funny guy, and they liked coming in and being around him. But he eventually got fired because the other parts of managing a store weren't really up to snuff. I remember we got like some review of our inventory and how we stored stuff in the back, and it was like the lowest out of the whole district. But he was the funnest boss to have, the funnest guy to be around. So I was fine with it. But eventually he got replaced by this guy who was more of a stiff. And there was a morning where I was sitting there chatting with one of these contractors, shooting the breeze. And we got on the subject about how, you got to make fun of yourself in this life. Yeah, you got to make fun of yourself. And this new boss, he was like, I can't make fun of myself. I don't do that. He was talking about how he gets mad at his wife and kids when they make fun of him. And me and this contractor just looked at each other and just couldn't believe it. This guy takes himself that serious. To where it's like he probably causes a lot of pain in his family because he just can't simply joke about his mistakes or something. It was just mind-blowing that those people exist. But yeah, they're out there. There's a lot of serious people out there. So in closing, I want to show you some of my external methods of healing. And it's starting to rain a little, so I'm going to bring it inside. All right, so I brought you inside. These are some of the supplements, or a lot of them are just mushrooms, different elements that I use almost every week, or once a month to stay healthy. So I'll kind of bring you through just a handful of things that I do nowadays. So I got a nice chaga coffee mix from Dunk's Mushrooms. This is like this local guy who does a bunch of mushroom stuff. So I just think having any kind of chaga, reishi in your diet helps. Any of those mushrooms. I have a, if you haven't heard of this guy, Cultivate Elevate. He's all about electroculture. I love the guy, and to listen to, his take on things. But I bought a mushroom powder from Cultivate Elevate. It's just got reishi, lion's mane. It's just mushrooms definitely are healing and cleansing. Like, if you didn't know, when power plants have all this radiation around them and all this bad toxic stuff going on, they can literally plant mushrooms. The mushrooms suck up all the toxins out of the soil, and then they can remove the mushrooms that are toxic. So it should kind of tell you take mushrooms, are going to rip the toxins out of you too, kind of keep you healthy. I also so my daily thing that I take, and this is, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed about taking a supplement. I've been doing it for a while and it works, but the more I journey into health and how all this works, it's I don't know, vitamins. It's just another word somebody made up. They haven't really verified that these vitamins exist in your body. So it's mainly I get all these effects from the vitamins, but I'm thinking about trying to cut down on supplements because they're not necessary, if you're leading a clean, healthy life. But this is what I take, almost every day or every other day is this Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I've been taking this for probably 15 years. 14, 15 years I've been taking this supplement and haven't had to go to a doctor. Don't get sick. This goes back to one of my videos. I talked about Joel Wallach and how, he discovered that chronic illnesses are actually malnourishment and toxic poisoning of your environment. So after I read Epigenetics from Joel Wallach, I ended up buying his product from Longevity, and I've been taking this, and I don't get sick, or if I feel a little low energy, I take this, and boom, I'm going. But I'm trying to wean myself off of these supplements and just live off of natural stuff. This is, especially if you're sick, if you're going through something, try this. It's harmless too. If you take too much nutrition, you end up sweating it out. But I listened to Tom Cowan, and a lot of what he says is your body might stop producing these vitamins and minerals. So there's always something about taking supplements that can be dangerous. But if you're in a terrible health state already, I think you should try something like this. So I do, Tangy Tangerine almost every day. And then every other day I add this pearl powder, which is from that same guy I talked about, Cultivate Elevate. You got to think about it like a pearl. And the way, this is basically crushed up pearl powder, and it's good for your skin, your eyes, every part of your body. This is supports hair, skin, nails, collagen, teeth, gums. I don't know. I just heard about this 3 months ago or something, and I bought a big bag of it, and I take it all the time. It's great. Something else I recently jumped into, I was talking about simulation theory and stuff, and I realized that our electric body needs copper. And I actually, so my whole neck here was like pure white. I had a pure white hair coming out. I've always had gray in my beard. But I started taking these copper supplements, and what do you know, like half the color came back. So that's a well-known thing of a copper deficiency. But in taking these copper supplements, I've kind of realized I have a calmer state of mind. It's just, there's something about our bodies that needs copper. And, like your blood has all this iron in it. It's why it turns red, when you bleed. So, we kind of are raised to look at metals and things like, whoa, that's dangerous. But I'm telling you, I took this bioactive copper supplement. Oh, I think it's from the Global Healing Center, And this is something I also... Inner gold, so monoatomic colloidal gold. Pretty expensive stuff, but it has platinum and copper. So I've been taking this too for maybe a month and a half. And I mean, it seems like it's helping. It's kind of expensive, but I think there's something about gold and copper, and it has platinum in it. It's good for a man. Silver is more for women, I would think, and it's also like what the moon gives out. So I don't know. I only take silver when I need to heal something. But there is something to these metals in your body, and you got to realize copper does not rust. Copper doesn't. It's a natural fungicide. It doesn't grow bacterias. The same with gold. Gold is an uncorruptible metal. So I've been just experimenting, taking them, and I feel a lot better. That's all I can say. Do all this stuff at your own discretion. What do they say? I don't give out medical advice. I'm just telling you what works for me. So then earlier in the video, I talked about how I detoxified in the fall and in the spring. So these are the two products that I was talking about. I think I bought them both from Tom Cowan. He's kind of the no virus guy, but he's got a farm. He's got a lot of clean products, and this Shilajit, it's pretty potent. When I take it, it's like taking 100 coffees or something. I feel like I'm whoo, I'm ready to go crazy. But I just feel like it's doing something to tear out any toxins that have gotten in me. And then this Detoxify I also bought from Tom Cowan, but it's the charcoal cleanser. But it has charcoal, organic baboa fruit pulp, micronized zeolite, brown seaweed. There's all this other stuff, monk fruit. There's this other stuff that helps cleanse the body and detoxify it. And I'm realizing now I forgot one of my supplements I take every morning. So I'm going to go grab it. I almost forgot. I don't know if you've ever heard of Zach Bush, but he's a pretty intelligent guy, and he's got a lot of good viewpoints, about helping humanity. But he sells this is it fulvic acid, or humic acid. So it's humic acid, from ancient soil. So basically, humic acid, it's one of those supplements that you take, and then you're going to benefit from everything else you take throughout the day. So, a lot of these things compound and assist each other in making you healthier. It's kind of like brown mud water. It's tasteless. But I could take this like first thing in the morning, because I know that getting this in my gut, it also, titration. It also helps tighten your gut lining when you take humic acid. So, I was talking about GMO corn and how it pops holes in your gut lining. This defends your gut lining, tightens it, and makes it stronger. A lot of ways to stay healthy in this age. But you take this first, and then, when you take your vitamins, you're going to absorb more of the vitamins. You're going to get more of the effects of things you take. So this is an important one, the humic acid. And then, I've gotten into salts lately. So there are these mineral salts that are homeopathic remedies. So if you get sick, you can take like 4 of these little things of salt, and it helps you get healthier. The other week or so, I was feeling like low energy, and I just came home. I was like, I got to do something, so I took some salt, and then, I don't know, an hour later, I felt better. So, there's something to salt and energy. I've also bought some bamboo salt. So sometimes I'll just take some of this, put it on my tongue, similar to the mineral salts. Give you a little boost of energy. And now this bath salt that I found, it's Dead Sea salt. So I've been experimenting with bath salts, and not in the crazy way. I'm not smoking bath salts, but taking a bath and putting some salt in it and soaking, and feeling like you just went through a giant muscle relaxer when you get out of it. Like that night you have the best sleep. So I tried the Celtic salt brand, for a little bit, and it was good doing those salt baths. But then I did some research in this Dead Sea salt that I got, and it's not even that expensive. It's just I do it twice a week now. So like on a Sunday, I'll take a bath, do my bath salts. On a Wednesday in the middle of the week, I'll do a bath salt, and it's like it recharges your aura or your shield around your body from all the electrical mayhem that goes on in this age. I just feel 10 times more relaxed after trying these bath salts. So this is kind of some of the stuff I do now. It'd be ideal to not have to do anything. But our health is under attack in this age, whether you want to admit it or not. The environment has been poisoned around you. You have cell towers and electrical frequencies just going on everywhere around us. We got all these light poles. We got all these electrical houses. It has an effect on your health. And I think copper and salts really help with your electrical body. This other stuff is more just overall general health. But I think that the salts and the gold, platinum, and the copper really can help defend you from the Wi-Fi signals and stuff. And I guess one important aspect I kind of forgot to bring up is eliminating the toxins. That's the first thing you got to do before you take a supplement or you do anything, is stop eating the bad stuff. Stop being around the cell tower signal. Don't sit by your Wi-Fi hotspot all day. It's literally just going to drain your energy. Don't put your cell phone up your head ever. Just countless stories of people who got cancer in their brain where they held their cell phone. All this stuff should have never been approved for humans. It should have all never been created because it harms us. But we're in that age of like ultimate temptation. These people know how to tempt you down a road, and then it's like you're stuck. We're stuck with cell phones. We're stuck with all this stuff now because it's ingrained in the society, and we'll be poor, we'll lose if we go back to the Stone Age or whatever. We got to keep progress, right? We got to go from 5G to 6G to 10G. It's just you could definitely tell not supposed to be this way, and you should do something to stop it. At least change yourself and your habits. If you can't get people around you to change. But yeah, this is kind of my bread and butter, I guess. This has been the thing that I have studied the most out of all my conspiracies, and I've lived it. I mean, I feel like I'm strong as an ox. Even though I do IT work, I can get outside and lift logs, and I'm thin, and I'm still, I just think, if somebody's going to give out health advice, they need to have a lot of energy, and they can't be fat. So I don't listen to anybody who's like bald and looks like, they're kind of frail, or if they're fat, and it's just like, I could care less what you have to say about health, because the proof's in the pudding. So I'm not trying to brag, I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm just saying, hey, I feel energized all the time. I'm pretty skinny. I feel like all these things are working for me. Maybe they could work for you. I don't know. But it's been a fun talk, kind of going back to my origin story on why I do all this crazy stuff I do. Hope it all makes sense. I hope it helps you out in some way. So I love you. Enjoy yourself.